Hey guys, Selena here letting you know about this month's Fresh Health Award. This month, we gave the award to East Point Potato. We love seeing Half Your Plate logos on consumer packaging, and this month we spotted them on East Point potato bags. Congrats to the team at East Point. If you'd like to nominate someone for the Fresh Health Award, simply send me an email at skarkash. Now on to the podcast.
Hi, and welcome to Produce Talks, the CPMA podcast. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to check out elearning.cpma.ca. That's elearning.cpma.ca. There you can check out all the online learning resources that are available through the CPMA, including podcasts, online learning tools, and our upcoming webinars. This month on Produce Talks, we're bringing you to our learning lounge on the CPMA Trade Show Floor for the session on produce disruptors. NAFTA, ELDs, and other acronyms that are having huge impacts on how business needs to approach trade, transportation, and technology. So, how do we mitigate these produce disruptors and ensure we're prepared for what's to come? Our panel of senior industry executives debate what they see as essential details that companies need to pay attention to moving forward. On the panel are Brent Lloyd from the Star Group, Milette from Courchesne Larose, Stewart Lapage from the Oppenheimer Group, and it's hosted by Alison Robertson from the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association. Here we go.
So, my first question, guys. What would you consider to be the biggest disruptor in produce right now? Start with you, Guy.
Well, produce disruptor for me, they could be very challenging from different angles. Some from transportation, some will be electronic data that I think it affects us a lot. And this is personally one of my biggest challenge. Produce industry has been very human contact basis. And in the last some year, we've got iTrades, we got SAP system, we got EDIs on different form. And the biggest product disruptor for me is the human contact that we're losing in communication, in trading, in buying and selling, where you can receive tons of POs over a week period without talking to anybody. I mean, I found it a little bit sad, but this is one of the major issue for me. And what makes this industry so nice is human contact and is losing. So if there's one thing that people should do is really try to keep that contact with vendors, with suppliers, with customers, with carriers, anybody. I mean, it's what's make our industry so nice.
Stewart?
A big emergence that I've seen, and one that's going to continue to grow moving forward, I think, is the online presence. Companies like Amazon Fresh that are going all in on fresh produce through online means, and it's going to be a big, not only just a big disruptor to that, but people are going to have to change the way they sell, the way they look at, the way customers buy produce, and companies who are able to take advantage of that and get in the game and understand the opportunity there, I think we'll see huge benefit going forward out of that.
I would agree with Stewart on that. I would also say that the impending challenges we have on the supply chain with logistics and the e-logs is certainly throwing a wrench into everything. I think excellent points from my colleagues. The personal, I've been in this business for 42 years, and what I've really enjoyed about it is dealing with the people. And that interaction is starting to fade. So what we like to do at our company is get people on the phone, continue to push that relationship building. So
I think we can all agree. I mean, it's the partnerships and the people. So how are you, and you've touched on it a bit, Brent, how are you now dealing with some of your partners to manage these disruptors? Brent?
Innovation is an area that we're focusing on. New products, new technologies that we're bringing through our greenhouse operation in Coaldale on lettuce, on proprietary varieties that we're bringing to the marketplace. We're focusing on flavor, on big taste, and we're trying to seek out the best tasting varieties that are grown, throughout the world, and getting people involved in experiencing those things. So,
yeah, I think it's changing the way business was typically done in the past. I think if you're not flexible to meet the changing needs of both of the end using customer as well as the retailer, or wholesaler that you're selling to, it's important to be flexible. It's important to think outside the box and find new solutions. There's so many competitive companies out there trying to sell similar commodities, similar products, similar services. How can you differentiate yourself, as Brent mentioned, based on product quality or service offerings or whatever that is, to stand out from the competition?
One of the main disruptor that we had lately, I think we had so many discussion on that this week, is the ELOG. It brought a new problems, but technically, like we were talking earlier, these rules has been there for so long. The ELOG is just applying the rule by the book, electronic book. So how do we adapt to this? In our case, we had to change our receiving hours because most of the short run, that is overnight deliveries, were suddenly becoming not overnight and morning delivery, but afternoon delivery. So we first thought it was going to be a very small problem with a few trucks, but ended up being 15, 20 trucks a day. And this is only with the U.S. ELOG. Once Canada get into the ELOG as well, it's just going to get things worse. Can we change these disruptors? No, you need to adapt.
Say for the Ontario Food Terminal, we're already discussing that because our fear is, and we've heard from farmers that, the hours of driving, let's say from Leamington down to Toronto and then selling all day and driving home, they're going to be over their hours. So we're looking at shortening the hours of the market just because of the new ELOGs. So I'm going to guess another disruptor is the moving target of trade. We've got CPTPP, we've got NAFTA, wherever that's going every day. Do you see opportunities? Do you see challenges? Where do you see this going for your businesses?
Well, I think as far as the NAFTA goes, you follow the mood of the president there, and it's kind of all over the map. So I think what's really important there is you have to have one unified voice speaking instead of many different messages going out. So I think that everyone should continue to engage their local associations, international association, to speak on their behalf. From the CPPT issue, there's less impediments there because we've always been able to access a lot of product that has not been able to get into the United States, from areas such as Australia and South America. So that has less of an impact from my vision on it. But the NAFTA thing, I just kind of waiting in the weeds to see how that shakes out, but I think you can't have a knee-jerk reaction. I really think you have to have a unified message.
Yeah, to Brent's point, I think it highlights the need more than ever for us as an industry to get behind, CPMA, CHC, the industry regulation groups to present one united position when it comes to these opportunities, and more than ever highlights the value that the team at CPMA and everyone brings to its members. Speaking out there, being directly involved in the NAFTA negotiations. The AGM, the CPMA AGM yesterday had our chief ag negotiator for NAFTA here making a presentation. I mean, they want to hear what the industry has to say and then take that, include it into their port when they're meeting with the other countries.
I think on the NAFTA side, personally, we are in the distribution area. We're not on the growing side. NAFTA is more going and touching directly growers than distributor. But from a CPMA point of view, it's a huge thing because there's a big core business about grower in the CPMA, and it's something to follow very closely.
And now it's time to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms.
Hi everyone, it's Kara here from Nature Fresh Farms. It's that time of year again. On top of being busy at work, the kids are back in school. Packing healthy lunches to fuel their learning and get you through your workday can sometimes seem challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Include healthy snacks like apples or bananas that don't need to be repackaged. And on your busiest days, opt for foods that require less prep time, like snacking tomatoes. For more easy ways to incorporate fresh and healthy foods into your family's healthy lunches, visit our website at naturefresh.ca.
And now back to the conversation.
So getting back to the ELOGs, because I know this is a hot topic, but we also have shortage of drivers. Now we're looking at teams driving, which is going to drive up the cost. And I would guess our industry isn't the poster child that these guys want to deliver for. I mean, it's perishable, it's time sensitive. So what thoughts do you have on how, as an industry, we address this? Is it, again, with the receiving? Is it getting these trucks on the road, turning them around sooner? How are you dealing with the challenges of trucking? I mean, we don't have enough trucks or truckers on the road, right?
I think.
No. Oh, I was going to say, there's, as different stats you can read today, but there's already a reported 48 to 50,000 driver shortage in the U.S. today. They're saying in another 10 years that'll be over 100,000 trucks without drivers. That's a scary thing, and we know the legislation isn't going to change. These laws are in place for safety, and as I said, have been in place before. It's now the enforcement that's changed. But what the industry can do better to serve it is to come up with best practices and share them, to be collaborative, to find ways that we can make our freight attractive for carriers, and not just on price. We can always buy capacity on price, and that will always be there. But we want to create efficiencies, whether it's loading, whether it's unloading. The drive for teams is great. It's a Band-Aid solution, though, because at the end of the day, all a team truck does is take one additional truck off the road by creating one that can move more consistently. So I think the industry coming up with best practices and really being desirable. The days of 4, 6, 8 hour loading times and 4, 6, 8 hour unloading times, guys simply won't do it. The amount you're going to pay as a surplus to that is not going to offset the lost revenue from that unit having to spend those kind of times loading and unloading. So I think it's going to be a huge factor of what we can change.
Yeah, I think there's a certain regionality to that problem. Being in Montreal and hauling from California, this is the further point you can carry product. We've been using Team for so long, and we're still using Team. So other than moving the price up, they haven't affected us too much. But on the short run, everything that goes from the east has been greatly affected. It is very hard. The driver now can have negotiation about where to go, where not to go. They'll send you a list, so I don't want to go there anymore because the main issue is the waiting time. So the E-log manifest is not really on the driving time. It's more on waiting time, and it's a big battle. Unfortunately, a lot of drivers are not properly educated on how to really use and perform with their E-log manifest. But that will come. I mean, give it a few months. I think it will require some industry specification, but we will adapt.
Brent?
I would agree. I think there's a real focus on best practices, trying to expedite the loading and unloading. Because the drivers will do that for a while, and then they'll say, no, I'm not taking that lane anymore. But you still have a customer to service. And I think, if you turn a blind eye to this and don't have these discussions with your shippers and your receivers to say, how can we effectively service you better, and by enabling us to get offloaded sooner, loaded sooner, we're going to continue to revolve and churn through trucks, and people are going to select which receivers and shippers they want to go to, like you're saying, Guy.
Other industries, it's a supply and demand based. Transportation is a supply and demand based pendulum, and right now the ball is frankly in the court of the carriers. So rates are high, freight is attractive. What carriers are now doing is they're trying to get as many extra units on the road as they can to take advantage of this hot market, which will eventually oversaturate the market with capacity and swing the pendulum back this way. But that cycle tends to happen in a 10 to 15 year swing historically, but this time it could be a lot worse based on the state of the market today, how long before we reach some sort of equilibrium in the middle, or the ball comes back in favor of the shipper instead of the carrier.
Let's not forget that the industry has been in constant evolution since the horse and wagon was there until today. So every slice, I don't remember that. Yeehaw! But the point with this is every slice of 5 or 10 years has brought some major changes in the industry. Today we call them disruptor, but they're always there. I mean, we deal with it. It costs. There's a price to it. It will change the face. We have to find better way to do transportation. I mean, funnily, everybody thought in the 90s that the rail were completely gone. Now suddenly, in the last 20 years, has been grabbing some business with different road model, and rail has been a interesting input. So what's going to be next? We're looking maybe in the 2030, something like beam me up, Scotty, and you see your pallet goes. We're not there yet. But
Can you quote that exactly that way? That'd be perfect. Yeah, thank you.
From Guy. So I'm just thinking about the presenter from Deloitte at lunch, and I mean all this technology and it's robots and it's scanning and it's, each of you, what are you doing in your businesses that you didn't see even 5-10 years ago with technology?
Well, we've got far more automated in our hothouse operations, robotic planting. It's basically not touched. Our program that we have right now, the lettuce is not touched until it's physically packed in the bag or the clamshell. So, a technology you have to continue to strive to get as efficient as possible. And I think technology is where you have to exploit. Whether it's robotic palletization, that kind of thing. Because with another disruptor is the minimum wage increased. Huge, and everyone's. We could stay here all day on disruptors. From the discount formats entering the marketplace to people trying to redefine themselves and to drive cost out of the equation. And in the meantime, our costs are going up. So we have to get as efficient as we can, and we've put a lot of effort into technology in that respect.
I think government policy, like minimum wage, is a huge disruptor that a lot of times we don't even see it coming, and it just sideswipes us. Yeah.
I think from the technology piece specifically, I mean, there's such great stuff being done in manufacturing, but something as simple as the GPS temp recorders that we put on shipments now. 10 years ago, that was unfathomable, that we could have a real recorder that would cost you $35 that you could put on your load, giving you real-time GPS location of that trailer and what the temperature is inside the box. It gives us so much control and visibility of our freight and creating efficiencies, going back to labor in all elements of the supply chain, that as opposed to having to have somebody call the truckers multiple times a day to get updates and locations, you can get that integrated with your system now. You can get reporting as frequently as you like, and the efficiencies that come out of it, as well as the installation of accountability. And I mean, it's a daily find for us that, when you have so many shipments you move and so many truckers out there, if you can find a reefer that was set incorrectly at the shipper or a reefer that's malfunctioning, you can find out about that in real time and get it fixed potentially before you've spoiled a load or risked a rejection or whatnot like that. And again, that technology 10 years ago would have been unfathomable.
That's absolutely true. We're in 2018. We're sending people on the moon. Can we know where the truck is? The answer is absolutely. And the temperature is a good aspect of it. Our supervisor used to have like 5 or 6 phones and going nuts all day long. Today he's got like 8 screens and he's going bonanza with his screen. But we've got real-time information that we give to customers, to salesperson. We don't have any more call, where's my truck? I mean, it's like it changed everybody's daily work, and it brought to the service level to another point. Today, I was talking earlier, from wholesale position, distribution, we became a service provider. People come to us. They don't ask the price of lettuce and tomatoes. It's, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you deliver there 3 times per week? And if the answer is yes, then you move on. But if you cannot say yes to these first portion, you're not going anywhere. So we're a service provider, then produce company.
Now I have some other questions, but I thought I should open it up to the floor to stay on time so I'm not in trouble from Jane. Is there any questions out there for the guys?
It's only $5 per question.
Yeah, $5 per question, or buy them a beer. They'll answer anything. Yeah. No question. Well, then my question is.
That's an easy crowd.
Yeah. It's easy. It's beginning of the day for them.
We'll go for a second round of questions.
Yeah. I'll start it off then. Are you, and I'll ask all of you, are you optimistic the way things are going for our industry? Pessimistic, short-term, long-term? I mean, I always worry. I mean, we have tight margins in this industry, and I mean, all these innovations cost money, and they can also save money. So I'll ask each one of you, starting with Brent. Are you optimistic, pessimistic, short-term, long-term?
I'm optimistic. We're in the right space right now with the focus on fresh and the focus on healthy eating. Our industry is positioned right in the catbird seat. So I look at that and say the new evolution of the better tasting products that we're bringing to the marketplace, the resurgence in the young people that are coming into the business. I'm really excited about that. I've been doing this for many years, but we've got a lot of bright young minds coming in that are teaching us and helping us with the technology, because believe me, I'm not the guy for technology. But no, I'm optimistic. As much as you're having a bad day with respect to the disruptors, when you look at where the industry is going, I think it's fantastic.
Made it. made it all the way to the last question before you stole my answer. But no, it really is that point, and being that next generation coming up, I think it's super important for companies to identify those people, the young people in the organization that are going to take through. I mean, our industry has been built by so many great and wise people that have done this for a long time, and I think there's that huge need to identify that next set of leaders that are coming up and show them the opportunity and the way forward, and to continuously innovate. I think that's something we can all be proud of, is this industry is driven by innovation. You see it in the trade show booth, you see it in the company, you see it in the technology and manufacturing, warehousing, transportation, sales, everywhere. Innovation is everywhere. And I think that's what makes me, as someone who is going to work in this industry for the next 20, 30 years, optimistic and excited, going forward.
I think to create passion into younger people in the industry is key factor. It sounds like it was a little easier to find people that was ready to give their life 7 days per week and 24 hours per day back in the good days. Today, people that join in, the younger people that's in the company, they think they can work remote from home if they don't feel good. It's possible, but it's different. And they think it's like 8 to 4 and that's it. And it's very hard to combine real family life and work. Today, there's a lot of things that Pullings covers on the family side. So you need to develop the passion on the produce a different way, and you need to provoke and to create these opportunity. If you wait to people to come in with this kind of passion, it's not going to happen. And, life is beautiful. There's just not enough people who knows about it.
Yeah. I mean, our industry, it's hard work. That's the end of it. It's work, and it's called work for a reason, right? So it's hard work, but I think if you love what you do, that's how you get the passion, and you care about the growers and the wholesalers. And once you care so much, then again, that's where the passion comes from.
And then the reward of hard work, you had a few days off during the year with Christmas and New Year's.
Hard. Yes. Christmas.
Oh, that must be nice.
Is there any other questions? Steve.
Stewart, you'd mentioned the pendulum swinging with right now there's a shortage of trucks, drivers, and the costs are up, that we'll get more trucks on the road. But the other challenge is we don't have drivers. We're shortage of drivers, going to get worse. Do you guys have an idea of how is that pendulum going to swing? What things, they've talked about automation with automatic drivers or rail, but what's reality look like in the future?
I think all the automated trucks, and you see it, and it gets great media and it gets great exposure. But the realistic fact is, I think in when you find people who are really in tune with it, that's 10, 15, 20 years. Realistically, just with the fact of a 80 to 90,000 pound vehicle driving down the highway, and we've seen it happen with an automated driverless Uber that crashed and killed somebody. And it's unfortunate that those little incidents are going to push these things back over time, because one instance or one fault is going to put things into a delay, if you will.
I think from a capacity standpoint, we got to try to, the pipelines are a contentious issue, but that's sucking up capacity on the rail. So if we can get that sorted out, or through Quebec there, my friend.
This got political all of a sudden here.
We have to figure out where we're going to find this capacity. There's 34% less drivers than there was, 10 years ago, and it's not changing. It's a difficult life. It's a tough lifestyle, and it's not for everybody. So I don't really know, to answer your question, Steve, where these guys are going to come from.
Maybe we change our gas pipeline to a fruit pipeline.
Yeah. To answer your question, also. The gap is so big. I mean, it's not going to get any better in a year or two, no matter what you adopt as law, regulation, change, whatever. It's just not going to happen. So for every company, you've got to work on your best practices. There's things you do for a customer. Now you have to do them for your trucker, and you need to pamper them. Make sure you got good unloading hours, unloading fees. At the end of the day, the company that's going to have the most problem to get their truck is the one that has the least good business practices. So let's make sure you're not in the top 3 of the worst business practices, and you're going to have to pay for it, but you'll have your truck.
I'd like to ask a question about innovation. So often we talk about innovation, but it's in vague terms. And it's a very busy industry. We tend to go to lots of trade shows all over North America. What are you doing to go outside of the box to other trade shows like the auto industry, like the electronics industry, to look for innovation that could potentially apply to horticulture?
I have a great example from this show here as well, and somewhere on this trade show floor is a natural gas semi-truck. Fortis BC has been working in conjunction with the industry and some companies, Oppenheimer being one of them, to try and convert to natural gas, say on the natural resource thing. So there are companies, big corporations that are taking advantage. I know Pepsi, Frito-Lay, Waste Management, other companies are already starting that shift to the natural gas transport. Something very neat, very innovative, something different in an industry that hasn't seen a ton of innovation. I mean, a truck and a trailer has been a truck and a trailer. Now there's been change around emissions requirements and that type of thing and efficiencies in the carrier. But at the end of the day, that's something very new and unique that I'm excited about anyway, to see that shift to natural gas semi-trucks. So make sure you take a point to stop in and pick those guys' brains. It's very interesting.
Well, in Quebec provinces, we have more access to natural gas, so we've been there already 5-6 years ago, and we now operate about half of our fleet on natural gas. It helps, but it brought other issues. I mean, you cannot fuel everywhere. I mean, you're restricted in the distance you can do. But to answer the technology answer, obviously you have to be very curious. So we have a very big teams of people's produce people. They come to these shows, but we got IT support. We have a big team. 10 years ago, IT department in a company was 2 or 3 people. Today it's 10. And you'll be surprised what they do. Everything is belong to IT now, from phone to computer to lift to order picking. You can't move without IT department. So, and the list is long. I mean, from going to technology show across North America, it's something that we never did before, but in the last 5 or 6 years, it's been working very well, actually.
Also, Karen, our suppliers, when you look, well, the tractor with John Deere today, but the packaging companies, they're bringing innovation, the seed companies, fertilizer, everybody, all of our suppliers are hopefully on the cutting edge and bringing that to our operations as well. And we're on time. Thank you very much, Stewart, Brent, and Pete. And you're off the hook.
And that's it. That's all that we have for you this month on Produce Talks. I'd like to thank all our guests for being part of our show. Our sponsor, Nature Fresh Farms, your support is very appreciated. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Remember to check out elearning.cpma.ca to find out more about online training available from CPMA. Until next time, remember to seek out new knowledge, build your skills and abilities, and basically never stop growing.
You will now be disconnected by the moderator.